I took a trip to 2 casinos in the last month and a half, I guess. So I finally ponied up and I said, you know what? A couple of my buddies, we said we're going to go down. First, we went down to MGM National Harbor, which I have been to before. And then we went to Maryland Live, which shockingly I've never been to. It was just never like whenever there was a series going down on there was always something going on here, and I just never floated down there. So
now wait, National Harbor is that the one?
National
Is that the casino where the room it's like a very big room and it's split up? It's like on two separate sides, kind of like a U shape. Like there's a room and then there's like kind of a space in the middle and it kind of wraps around like in a U.
I don't think so. I don't think we're sitting in the same room.
Is that near the giant Ferris wheel?
There's
like a huge Ferris wheel there.
There is at MGM National Harbor.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
I played there before, where they call out the random table for the high hands.
The
lucky seat. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
So I'll start with this. MGM National Harbor. My experience is what it was like. So the MGM National Harbor is the first time I had played live poker since literally March 10th or 6th, or I don't know, whatever that first weekend in March was or whatever, because I actually played in WSP Atlantic City circuit event, and I remember it was like getting awkward. Like it was to the point where
this is before they shut it down.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
It was like that weekend right before everything shut down,
yep.
And things were getting awkward. Even at the poker table, people were like not wearing masks yet, but people were like hand sanitizing, and people were kind of joking about it. But at the same time, it's like a weird fear in the air. It felt awkward playing, and we didn't know. So that was the last time I played. So the first time I played was last month in September. So it was the longest that I've gone without playing live poker since I started playing poker. So we went there, we traveled down there, specifically just to play cash. We got down there, first off, it was packed. We had to wait 2 hours for a seat.
Wow.
And they have, I'll look it up, I can't remember what time. I mean, they're a pretty decent sized poker.
No, I remember.
It's not like this little 10 table.
No, it's big. That's why I said I think it's like a U shape. Like, I remember being cut off from a complete other side of the poker room. You probably can't get an aerial view, but I think that's how they split it up.
So they have 46 tables there.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yep.
Is that what you recall?
Yeah, so see here?
Yeah.
This goes all the way back, and then it goes all the way, so it is a U.
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
And then there's this split which goes upstairs at the break. Yep.
So all these tables were full. Now it was 7-handed poker. They have the dividers up, and the first thing we did, we were like, okay, we put our names on the list. We went to eat, and then we came back, and then we got on tables when we got back. But literally, it was a 2-hour wait, and this was like, when did we get down there? I think we got down there. I mean, granted, it was a Friday, so we got there on a Friday afternoon. I think we got there by about 4 or 5 o'clock, and it was packed by 5 o'clock. It was just jam packed.
Mobbed.
Yeah. So we got there, we got our chips, we sat down. I got seated. Now this is the first time I'm playing on divider with a mask, with a hat on, and so I'm sitting right here where I am in the middle of a poker table. That was his first seat, and I was right in the middle, and I automatically got, I don't want to say overwhelmed, I don't think that's the right word, but there was a lot going on because I was right in the central divide, so it almost felt like I was playing like bug eye, because I was seeing all these different like views out of my eyes, and it was bothering me because like I would see like almost like a double of someone here, and it was just weird. So right in the middle, it was really hard to see the splits, and I felt out of the groove. I did not feel comfortable at all for the first like hour or two. I just felt really out of place.
Is that just poker wise, or because of like
both? I felt like weird, like it just
like you were doing something like wrong, kind of.
A little bit, but it was more just like uncomfortable. Like it didn't feel like poker. Like you're like, okay, like that drive-in, you're like all hyped up. You sit down, get your chips, you got your drink, your Red Bull, your whatever. You start bullshitting with people. Like there was none of that. There was no talking.
No one was talking. Really.
And if someone did talk, you're like, what? What are you saying?
Because the mask.
You couldn't. Yeah. So you're wearing a mask and you got a thing. So the conversations, you couldn't really have conversations. Someone's trying to talk to me like next to me for a second. I'm like, what? What are you saying? Like it just felt out of place. Like everything felt out of place. So then I was having trouble seeing. So the first seat change that came was like the 9 seat, or technically be the 7 seat now. So I took that, and that was clear because there was only like one view, kind of like the way it was split, and it was only split here. So on my eyes, it was easier for me to sit that way than here. The divider in the middle just completely skewed my attention. Um, Surprisingly, I did well though. Like I actually played really solid. We played like I think a 6 or 7 hour session we put in,
Oh wow, nice.
and I ended up making a few $100. Like it was a solid session. Like I played solid, but it was like the social aspect
Go on.
gone.
Yeah.
And it felt, for especially like cash game. Like one of my things, like I like getting in people's heads a little bit. Like people end up hating me by the time they're done playing with
Oh,
me.
absolutely.
So I like that aspect because I can get in someone's head a little bit, but there is none of that. Like, I mean, I think 3-4 hours in, I just took out my iPad and started watching like a movie on my iPad. It was just so, it was like so blah, it was so vanilla.
Now, what about I don't know. I don't want to say like the luxuries, but it was like, did they have drink service, or was like how was that whole like casino experience side of things? Because look, when I go, normally I don't drink, but if I'm going somewhere else, like if I'm going down to like say National Harbor and not AC, I'm gonna have a couple drinks. So
They did have drink service. The one thing that I don't think this was a rule before. I don't think it was, but I realized it afterwards. The one thing that stood out, and maybe this was always a rule there, and I just didn't know. You are not allowed, and I think this is for the cash reason, to switch cash. But when you're in the cash out line, you're not allowed to sell chips to other players and pass your chips on to other players for cash.
Oh really?
Yeah, so I would do it. It was funny because like I'm in the back of the line and I don't know how much I had, but like I had probably $500-600 or whatever I cashed out for. Bought them for 200, made like a couple hundred profit. And so I'm in the back of the line and there was some dude with like handful of cash, like counting his cash. I'm like, dude, you need some chips. And he was like kind of like shady about it. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, what the fuck? And so like he like kind of did it on the slide. I'm like, what the fuck is this dude doing, right? Because I'm used to just selling chips to anybody.
Uh-huh. No, you're right.
And so I sold him chips, and then another girl was like behind me, and she only had like 100, and I still had some. I was like, "You need chips?" And she's like same thing. I'm like, what the fuck?
I get it, because they're probably sanitizing the chips as they come in.
So then when I got to the front of the line, there's a big sign that says,
Don't sell chips.
"Don't sell chips, or you will be banned out." It literally said,
Oh my god!
"You will be banned from the poker room, and you'll be escorted out." I sort of got some big sign right there in the front. I was like, "Oh snap!" Like I'm like, "All right."
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if that was a rule before, but most poker places they let you just cash out chips or whatever. But yeah, so anyway, that was the whatever difference. You can't eat at the table, which I don't know if that was a rule before at all, but I know most places are banning that anyway. Like you can't eat at the table. You can still drink at the table, like you could have drinks or whatever, but there was no eating at the table.
What about the frequency of changing the deck? Did you see that?
Yeah, like I think it was every time a dealer came, they just took the whole deck off and brought in a new deck every single time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So when a dealer was,
every 30 minutes a new deck.
Oh, okay.
Instead of just switching out the one deck, I think a whole new set came in and the other one went out. If I remember correctly.
But they weren't. Were they doing the whole? Like checking the deck, spreading it, counting?
I feel like they were, but not as frequent. Now that you say that, I don't think it was as frequent as I'm used to. Like every hand, it wasn't like that. They have hand sanitizer on the table. The dealer's obviously wearing a mask. But that's the other thing too. Like sometimes you get those dealers that are like kind of fun and they're like joking with you a little bit, or like they're a little friendly,
quiet.
Yeah, it was a weird place to be. It felt weird. And then we went down. Part 2 of this, we went down. About 2 weeks later, we went down to MGM Live, or no, Maryland Live. I'm sorry, Maryland Live.
Yeah.
First time there. It's like in a weird. It's like in a mall parking lot.
Yeah.
Right?
I've been there.
Oh, you've been there. Okay.
Yeah.
So, side note, when I was driving out, there's a Medieval Times there, and I was like, "This is some kind of prop bet right here." I was like, "Dude, this is definitely a prop bet. Like, loser or whatever has to pay for us."
Like cable guy.
So it's closed currently, but in the future, my brain was already spinning for prop bets. So if you guys can think of something, drop it in comments. I was like, oh. And so MGM, I keep saying MGM, Maryland Live, they had a daily tournament. So that's what we went down for on a Saturday morning. Same thing, 7 players, tables. They end up getting about 100 people in the tournament.
Oh, no, so this was a tournament, not a cash game.
This was a tournament, daily tournament. It was like a $300 buy-in. They did get like 100 people, and that was pretty cool just to play tournament. Now, I felt a little more comfortable because I knew what to expect.
And you'd already been, yeah.
So I knew what to expect. It was only a couple weeks later. Their divider is clearer. like I sat in the middle there, and I was able to see better. So their divider, the way it's got a more of a curve on it. It's hard to explain what like.
No, I get it with the angles.
Yeah, so it's more curved and not like straight as the MGM one. So I don't know. For my eyes, it was easier to see. I felt more comfortable playing. I didn't do as well. I didn't do great. I ended up down a little bit because I played cash afterwards. I made a little back. But I felt more comfortable there. It was nice seeing a tournament. It ran just the same as a normal tournament would. But then again, same thing. No real conversation. Just kind of like dead poker. Just one of those tables you get on where everyone's quiet. Like when you're on a table with like all those grinders that are there like Monday to Friday. That's what it felt like. But it wasn't. There was like, I could tell, like I was trying to watch people, and you could tell there were some noobs there like that would usually you conversate with and get things flowing. But there was no, it's like very, very little conversation.
No, I haven't been. Like I said before, you already asked. You know, once AC kind of opens up, I definitely want to go and check it out. The one question I had is with the dividers, and I've spoken to a couple like dealers. Some dealers, you know, they deal in such a way where like, you know, they're flicking cards. Did you see a lot of misdeals because of the dividers? Like, were there a lot of cards getting flicked that were hitting the plexiglass, or was the game slower because the dealer had to focus more on getting the cards underneath the divider?
Definitely a little slower on the deal. And the one kind of little error I kept seeing was with the dealer button, because like the way the divider is, so sometimes you couldn't see the dealer button, and so like it would throw the dealer off because it was like behind like the corner, and like they had to like, I mean, just little things that like throw it off by like a couple seconds, but that obviously adds up over a lifetime. So that was kind of awkward, and like you couldn't see the dealer button. Like I got a dealer button here actually. So like if it was like, it'd be like, it's hard to see, but like if this is the divider and it sticks out a little bit, it'd be like stuck here, and you're like, where's the divider at? And then like the dealer forgets,
like caught in a blind spot.
Yeah, so it was a little weird for that. That was the only kind of real issue. It definitely was a little bit slower for the deal. Like they weren't super chugging because you have like a small little tight area
that you have to fit it under.
Yeah, so they're just used to just like throwing to the spot, but now it's tight. So yeah, now that you bring that up, it definitely was a little bit slower for sure.
That's because that's, you know, not to get off topic, but that's one of the things. I have a couple buddies that still deal, and I kind of was bouncing things off them, get their feedback, and they're like, yeah, I'm just kind of concerned about my style of dealing because, you know, some guys, they have it down like.
Plus, the other thing too is, now that I think about it, you're right, because the okay, so this is, we're on a poker table now. I don't know if they can see how low this is, but the divider was like right here, right? So some dealers airborne it, you know what I mean? Like
that's what I mean. Yeah.
So like it might not land till like right here. So like you have to be like really down. Now I think about it, that's funny you bring it up. They got to be real down low. They can't be air flicking it where it lands here and like slides in. Because if it hits that window or even the corner, it's gonna maybe flip more. So they got to like more like slide it low. So yeah, no, definitely for the guys that like air it out a little more, I could see that definitely being an issue. Yeah, definitely being an issue. So anyway, that was my experiences. I'm hope we'll have some more coming up. Hopefully, some of these other places open up soon.
Yeah, if like, I mean, I definitely would like to take a trip to one of these other places a little bit closer. If Parks gets off the ground, like you said, in a couple weeks, or you know, I heard similar rumors. Borgata was mulling around the idea of opening their poker room, but that's just, you know, that's not talking to an executive. That's just talking to players who know people who know. Yeah. So everything right now is still in kind of a hold pattern, waiting for some of the more restrictions to get lifted. I mean, look, you know, the numbers aren't lying. We're starting to kind of go back up, especially here in New Jersey. You know,
numbers are rebuilding.
The number of confirmed cases, not necessarily deaths or hospitalizations, just like positive tests, are going up. So let's hope that we don't revert back, and we just keep moving forward. Just for, you know, poker's sake, and just for, you know, the health and safety of people just in general. So